פרס למנצחים בעונה 4, חוויית נסיעה מטורפת ברכב מרוץ פרוטוטייפ במסלול ערד.
Hello everybody and welcome to Circuit Zolder in Belgium for the iRacing Israel League presented by Sim Race. We've got one race coming up tonight in the F3 cars as usual in Season 4. My name is Dane Baird and alongside is Jim Hodgson with Mark Tranter up in the production booth as always. And Jim, you've had a couple of rounds off from the series. You did the first 6 rounds with me, but it's great to have you back. And what are you expecting here at Zolder?
Well, as we were just talking about a moment ago, I'm expecting to see some high-risk, low-reward in that final chicane, or as I should say, the final missing chicane, since we're running the alternate layout here. We were just having this conversation a second ago, but I'm kind of expecting to see some cars take a little bit of more curb than they perhaps want, and maybe fly off into space.
Yep, absolutely. We have some championship standings up on the screen now, and it's a bit spicy up at the front. 1 point separating Ruben Chachashvili in front to Alon Day in second, just behind him. And there's a 20-point gap to Amir Meshlam, who's in third. Then Michael Scherling, Dorian Tabashnik, very close together in third, fourth, and fifth. Then we've got Ariel de Bush, John Chico, Alon Zeltzer, Yossi Gabay, Mandy Bakar. Then Peter Green, Aiden Scher, Sardekel, Rancioni, Nir Mizrahi, Oren Sade, Shavak Vitelshvili, who is very low down the order, which is quite unexpected. He's not had the best season so far, but Yaroslav Malkov is just behind him. Then Really Sir, Moshe Penchevsky, Yehuda Ben Yosef, William Gross, Ran Kesselstein. Then we've got a lot of other drivers here. It's very close to the midfield actually, and 38 drivers on the screen already in these championship standings. So it's great to see the series growing as ever, and hopefully we have quite a few of them out on track today. I think we've got 24 drivers here today at Zolder, and qualifying is almost finished. The drivers have used up their 2 allocated laps. Most of them have, and we've got an unfamiliar face up at the front of up the top of the timing tower. We've never seen Sharon Kaner up in pole position before.
Yeah, well done to him. And I was a little bit surprised, Dane, to see Dorian Tabachnik kind of, I think he's running maybe 4th championship. I mean, a great driver, but a surprise to see him sort of that far down in the points. But as you say, great to see a new face. I've been gone a little while, so you guys got some new fast qualifiers.
And there is the shortcut. That is very risky. If you run a bit wide there as well, the wall cuts back, almost back onto the tarmac. The wall is pretty deadly here. It's definitely not one that you want to be making friends with during the race, but coming through the first sector now, and the cars will be able to follow each other pretty closely through the first few corners. This is almost flat right-hander. They've got to lift a fair bit. The gravel on the outside is very easy to dip a couple of wheels into and spin the car around, so maybe watch out for that in the first couple of laps. And then into the chicanes, whoever we were watching, Mandy Bakar, won't reach the chicanes because it's just been very unceremoniously kicked off the circuit as qualifying is over. But the chicanes, infamous here, curbs absolutely huge, so expect to see a couple drivers taking flight over those. But we have got the grid then for today's race, and it is Sharon Kaner in pole position with a 118.482. Dorian Tabashnik, the driver who's created the setup for today's race, the fixed setup, is lining up alongside in second. Then Ruben Chachashvili, John Chico, Amir Meshlam, Peter Green, Reem Gross, Oren Sade. Then Michael Scherling and Rancioni rounding out the top 10. Yaroslav Malkov and Yossi Gabay in 11th and 12th. Then Ariel de Bush, Alon Zeltzer, Ran Kisselstein. Then Yehuda Ben Yosef, Michael Wasserman, Leon Portman, David Diag, and Elad Weinraub in 20th, with Moshe Penchevsky, Mandy Bakar, Nirkot Mizrahi, and Really Sir not setting a lap. So those 4 will start from the back of the grid, and I believe David Diag, who qualified in 19th, will be starting from the pit lane, and that's a penalty from the last round at Alton Park. So we're just waiting for Dorian Tabashnik and potentially Michael Scherling as well. So a couple drivers left on the grid, but what do you think we're going to see heading into turn 1, Jim?
Well, hopefully no incidents. Of course, these cars do not take banging around too well, as you well know. So hopefully they'll be able to keep it clean. Of course, these drivers are all friends and know each other, so plenty of respect on track. Yeah, I'm expecting to see hopefully some clean racing. Of course, we do have 2 fast repairs, so maybe people will hang it out a little bit.
We're getting ready here. The lights are on. A couple seconds left. Revs are rising. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Oh, and there's a jump start in the back. I think that might have been Chico in the number 3 car. But whoever that was is dropping back massively. But it's a good start from Kana. Chachishvili's got up the inside of Tabashnik already. They're going side by side further back. And someone's gone off in the background into the runoff. They're facing the wrong way. I don't think they're going to be taking too much further part in this race. That's John Chico. That's dropped down. He's all the way down into 23rd. I think something might have happened to Moshchevsky as well. But it is Kana who leads from pole position. Chachishvili's got past Tabashnik for second there, but Tabashnik might come back in towards the chicane. There's a big wreck happening behind there. A couple of cars off into the gravel. As they'll try and get single file. That's someone who's just gone off. I think that might have been Ariel the Bush who's just gone off in the chicane, taken over both of the curbs, which is not what you want. Kane has gone off. Something's happened to Kane. He's found himself on the inside wall through there, and there's a couple other drivers involved as well. Sioni's gone off there as well. What happened to Kane? Kane has lost the front wing on the chicanes. So of course, coming into the chicane, having to brake really early, the second chicane, and still not able to do anything without the downforce.
Yeah, not great for the leader. Of course, plenty of racing left to go, but also, I mean, absolutely catastrophic start for Chico. First, he jumped the light, and then he got into some trouble as well, as you said. So Chico running now in 19th overall. We'll see where Kaner comes out. There's somebody doing a little excavation.
Car number 99 has been given a drive-through penalty. That's probably something from the start.
Peter Green.
And that would make sense because Peter Green started in 6th position just behind where Chico did. So that would make sense that that's what happened at the start of the race. But really unfortunate for Kana after doing so well at the start of the race, losing the front wing. I can only imagine that was from the curbs at the first chicane. As Tabashnik's dropping back, going side by side with Amit Meshlam just ahead of us in towards the chicane. Meshlam's got himself up into second, so Tabashnik dropping down the order at the moment.
Yeah, Meshlam's certainly no slouch either, so he'll probably be able to capitalize on this. It looks like he will anyway, running in second overall. He's gained 3 places so far, and now Tabashnik's just overtaken him.
Oh dear, I think there might have been contact made there. Chachishvili potentially has lost out a lot of time there from the lead. Now down to 4th. There's a massive cluster of cars there. Meshlam's gone off as well. So there's been some incidents happening out in front. Peter Green's headed into the pit lane to serve the drive-through penalty. Well, what's happened here? So Chachishvili coming down to the hairpin. Ooh, just locks up the rears and goes around. And then that looks like Meshlam goes off on the outside of the hairpin, which lets everyone past again. So Tabashnik takes the lead.
Yeah, plenty of action so far, but not necessarily at the points where we expected them, huh?
Well, we'll see if the leaders can stick together. As Meshlam's gone into the pits now. So Meshlam just towed into the pits actually. So what's happened to Amit Meshlam? That's very unfortunate. I don't think there was any damage from that incident that we just saw. So that's an interesting one. I think we might have just cut away at the wrong time, heading through the chicane. Oh dear, oh dear. And there's the wall I was talking about, and that is not how you want your race to start off in the first couple of laps. Trying to avoid, I think it was Chachishvili trying to get we went wide actually through that chicane. So that, the skipped chicane, already causing issues in the first few laps of the race.
Well, Tabashnik now with the fastest lap of the race at a 1:19.1, so he seems to be settling in a little bit. I'm sure he's hoping he'll soon have Sherling out of drafting range. But yeah, the circuit seems to be really biting these cars.
Here we're having a look at Orange Sade, and he's got Yossi Gabai just behind. Yossi has gained 6 positions so far in this race. So that's John Chico letting them by, who is now a lap down. And Kane is setting the fastest lap of the race, so despite the damage and having to take the pit stop early on, he's still setting some very respectable pace. The drivers are not mandated to serve or to take a pit stop in this race, so they can go all the way to the end. So taking an early pit stop is definitely not what the drivers would have wanted early on in this race. It's going to have a pretty disastrous effect on the rest of their races, but it looks like Kane is catching up to some of the drivers near the back of the field now, so maybe we'll get some action as Bakar passing Weinraub as they head through this skip chicane. You can see actually a couple of them getting a bit loose in the first apex of that corner as Chachishvili sets the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, well down into the 119s now. Tabachnik set the fastest lap of the race, and then Chachishvili beat him. So perhaps Chachishvili could shovel himself up to the front of this race. Kaner's taken another position back there, moved up to running 18th overall, so he too is clawing his way back up the timing tower. It feels to me, Dane, like the race is settling down a little bit here.
Yep, just a little bit as the drivers start to spread out, but we've still got quite a few drivers separated by around about half a second, including our leaders. It looks like. Not the leaders, second and third. Michael Sherling and Reem Gross separated by half a second on the timing tower, and these two separated by even less than that. Wasserman with Nikot Mazraoui and Rancioni just behind him as well as they head through the second of the 2 chicanes here at Zolder. Then we're going to make a lunge. It all looked like Nikot Mazraoui actually went for it. They're 3 wide on the exit, and Rancioni's taken both of them as Wasserman runs a little bit wide and slows down Mazraoui as well. And Rancioni says, all right, see ya. I'll take both of your positions and move up into the top 10. Oh, someone's just hit the wall.
Oh dear.
Someone's hit the wall, or they've hit the curb, and nastily something's happened further back. We'll see a replay of this now. Rancioni on board into the hairpin, thinks about the move, doesn't go for it, but now takes that tight inside line, sweeps around both. That's brilliant.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And here's that battle for second then, with Michael Sherling closely followed by Reem Gross, and Reem's actually got a pretty good exit there compared to Sherling. So he might be having a little bit of a look in towards the hairpin. This is where we're going to see quite a few moves being made, as we've seen already. Sherling going to the defensive already. Is Reem going to try and get the switchback, as we just saw Rancioni do? But no, he can't quite get it. Michael Sherling doing a pretty good job on the exit there, and now through the chicane. This is not a place you want to be running side by side, as we've seen a couple times already.
Yeah, they managed to keep it clean this time, but they are very close to one another. I was having a look at the outside there. Turn 1. I'm not sure that's going to work for him, but it does. He gets it done. Surprising.
Yeah, brilliant move around the outside there. Sherling had no choice but to defend that, and yeah, Reem Gross was able to hold it around the outside and pull off a pretty decent move there. And they have got a 3.5 second gap now with the battling they've been doing to Dorian Tabachnik, so it's going to be a bit tough to try and catch that back up, but they have around 20 or 15 laps left, so that's around about 20 minutes. So we'll see what they can do during this race as the race goes on, and traffic might start to play a bit of a role in this as well, because they're already about halfway to meeting Leon Portman. There's a couple of drivers off the circuit, Yehuda Ben Yosef and
Kaner.
Pole position man, Kaner, yeah. And that car's not going anywhere, mate. It's missing a wheel. Let's see what's happened here. This is Kaner behind in the 48. Oh, just caught out a bit by the slower car in front. They get stuck inside of each other, and then, yeah, that's a one-way ticket to the wall there, unfortunately.
Well, I've never been wealthy enough to own a Formula car, but I do think they all need their wheels.
I think that's a pretty safe bet to make there. But yeah, losing the wheel is definitely not what you want. Sometimes you can get lucky and lose the wheel in a way that allows you to carry on driving, maybe drive all the way back to the pits. But you see that quite a lot in, say, Formula E, but not here. Not in the F3 car on iRacing.
Oh, sorry, Ken. I thought I just saw a drive-through for Goodbye come by. Not sure what he did to deserve it, but
yeah,
seems like he got a drive-through.
Yeah, he did get a drive-through, so I'm wondering what happened with Yossi there. I don't think I've seen anything happen with Yossi, although I could be wrong. Or it could be a typo. Correction, car 20. There we go, it was a typo. Who was that? Rancioni. So something's happened involving Rancioni. I'm not sure I've seen anything involving him either. Could it potentially be car 27 of Moshe Pinchevsky? No, it wouldn't be Moshe Pinchevsky, would it? That's an odd one. I don't think I've seen Rancioni do anything, so we'll have to get clarification. Position 17. That doesn't really clarify it up much more either.
Well, the stewards can certainly be mysterious forces, can't they?
We will see who ends up having to serve a penalty then. Because I don't think any of us know who's actually being told to serve a drive-through penalty at the moment. Moshe Pinchevsky running in 16th with Peter Green in front. Peter Green's actually surprised me quite a bit because we've seen he was really close to the front during the GT4 season in the Porsches, the 718. But he hasn't really done too well in the Porsche Cup. He didn't complete most of that season, but when he came back, it wasn't too great in the Porsche Cup, and he hasn't impressed too much in the F3s either. So it's a bit surprising from him as we're watching. Battle for third place. They're still side by side through turn 2 now, but Chachishvili finally getting past Sherling. And now Sherling's coming back. But I think Chachishvili around the outside, dips a wheel onto the gravel, might slow him down a bit. Maybe Sherling can have a go into the chicane.
This has got to be... It's Goodbye. Well, DeBusch is falling down a bit here. Has he had an incident? Having an 8th overall. We should see him shortly. No, he seems to be okay.
It's still pretty close out in the front as well with Chachishvili and Sherling, although Reuven's now just pulled away slightly. Through that middle sector, they are separated by about 0.2 of a second. Which is quite insane as we're watching these two cross the line to start lap number 11. So we're nearing the halfway point of the race. And those times keep tumbling. They're almost into the 17s.
Yeah, getting rid of a little bit of that fuel. That would lead us to believe that the times will continue to tumble, if that's the case. Speaking of which, just at the front, there's a little wiggle there from Goodbye, and it's cost him a couple of positions, or at least one. Just a little
Possibly
wiggle
another
of the
now.
car
His
there.
line's been compromised quite a lot. He's having to go around the outside of the bush now. And Alan Seltz is sent up the inside as well, but as we just saw with Chachishvili, that's not going to work. Who's that out in front? Is that Yaroslav Malkov, who's just run a bit wide? Well, I say a bit, quite a lot wide. It was. So a little train of 5 cars now in this battle for 6th.
Tabachnik almost in a race by himself today, Dane. I mean, you know, you expect it. Very good driver. Of course, knows the circuit well. Did make the setup, as you said. got himself a 4-second gap, and it appears to be increasing over Gross.
Yep, he's having a pretty good time out there so far. Another fastest lap for him, but not of the race overall. They are very close to getting into those 1:17 now. There's a 1:18.06 last, 1:18.07 last time for Dorian Tabashnik, with the fastest lap of the race going to Ruven Chachishvili, I believe, a 1:18.06. But yeah, he is pretty much all on his own. 4.5 seconds, almost 5 seconds now as he heads into the middle sector of the circuit. And you can see there in the background is Gruss, and then as we moved out of shot, Chachishvili and Sherling appeared as well. But yeah, the field's starting to spread out quite a bit. No one separated by half a second or less at the moment. Only 2 drivers out there separated by less than a second. So yeah, definitely starting to spread out just a bit. And Owen Sade actually is just had a bit of a moment. And
Unbelievable to see.
David Diag is also losing a lot of time and went off track. I think he might have had a bit of a ride here. What's happened to David Diag? Oh, he's touched the grass.
A little too much curb and a whole lot too much sand.
Yeah, something might have happened to Ariel de Bush here. Heading through turn 2 up on the curb. Oh, that's unsettled the car and around he goes. Looks like the rest of the drivers will be able to avoid him. Oh, oh, just about. I think that was Meshalam. No, it wasn't Meshalam. Who was that? Maybe it was I think it was Nim Esrahi, actually, that narrowly avoided the stricken car of the Bush there.
Yep, everybody knows that feeling of being stopped on track and how terrible it feels, but it can also cause some serious knock-on incidents. Luckily, we avoided it that time. The skin of our teeth.
Carrying a lot of speed through that final couple of corners there, flat out for the most part. I think in traffic it might not be, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. But we are riding on board just outside of the top 10, with Wasserman looking back at Sir and de Bush. That's a lap car coming out of the pits. I think that's Kana, who's just come out of the pits there in 21st. But really, Sir just behind, closing down the gap in the slipstream. You can see in the draft. Now into the chicane. You can see how high those curbs are. Definitely don't want to be hitting those. Slowly starting to break down the gap between himself and Dorian. Took out 2/10 in the last lap. And as Michael Sherling just got past Ruven Chachishvili, I think I saw. But now we're looking at Rancioni. What's happened here is he's sent it down the inside into the hairpin. Yes, he has. Have they made contact? No, they haven't. They are still side by side though, heading down towards the chicane. Are they going to try and hold it side by side through the chicane? No. That is the smart move right there.
Yeah, I think it was wise to back out there. Here's Sherling. Has something happened to him?
No, something happened to Chachishvili in front of him.
He's driving awfully
Is he
slow.
out of fuel? Has he just let him past? Looks like he just pulled over and let him pass. That's interesting. Maybe he's bored and he wants to race.
It does happen.
It does happen. We've seen it happen earlier in the season. That's a very odd one.
Well, if you're Chachishvili, you know... Of course, now he's going to pass him once again. Maybe he just wanted to battle into this complex once more. But, you know, between the two of these guys, there's 3 seconds ahead and many seconds behind. So if they're not racing one another, they're basically... There's nobody to race.
Just hot lapping at that point.
Yeah.
Maybe they've been on the comms. Yeah, let's have some fun. Look, side by side into the chicane now. I think. Oh, that's not good. He's managed to keep his car in one piece, but I wouldn't try that too many times.
Yeah. Always terrifying to see a Formula car galloping around like that.
Killstein is off the circuit, losing a lot of time. Lost the position to Peter Green as well. I wonder what has happened to the driver currently sitting in 15th. Let's see then. Turn 1, over the curb on the exit. Are we going to see something happen into turn 2? Ooh, touches the grass and just does not, that car did not want to slow down.
Well, this battle goes on. Schürling and Chachishvili now ahead, of course, and I believe they're catching some lap traffic. We'll move aside. Schürling taking a very wide line and a whole lot of gravel there. They both get around that other car. And Schürling being a little bit more careful through the chicane, I believe, this time, Dane.
Yeah, unsurprising. We saw what happened to Kaner at the start of the race, which is very unfortunate. I would have liked to see Kaner out in front for a bit, because we haven't really seen much of that driver before. I think one of the newest drivers to the league. Ooh, good save there from Ruben Chachishvili to keep onto that. Got a rear wheel into the dirt. Could have easily looped it right around, but he just about managed to hold on to it. Now, are we going to see, as we see the first 1 minute 17 of the day, Chad Tabashnik deciding that he's had enough of Gross taking time out of him, and he just gains 5/10 on that lap. But again, Ruben getting pretty wide, touching the grass now on the entry of turn 2 as well. He's getting a bit risky here. Something's happened to Wasserman now as well. Gained a lot of lost a lot of time even.
Maybe a little bit of an off. Ooh,
Oh dear.
right around.
I think there was a bit of help from behind.
Yeah, I wonder if he got a little taparoo.
Ooh. Now it's Ruben's turn to hop over the curbs a bit. Those are significantly less dangerous than the first chicane's curves, but oh, that was a bit weird on my screen at least. Michael Shelley lost a wheel for a second. Oh, who's that?
It might be Ben Yosef.
It is. Good spot.
Yes.
For a second on my screen, Michael Shelley had one of his wheels just pop off and then pop back on again. That was that was an interesting sight. Just iRacing things here on the iRacing Israel League, and we've got Oren Sadi being very closely followed by Yaroslav Malkov. He's going to go to the outside in towards turn number 1. We've seen it happen quite a few times. Ruben Chachishvili's pulled it off. They're going side by side. There's contact. Both of them turn around, and Yossi Gabai will pick up the pieces. Looks like Zeltz is going to pick up a couple as well. Malkov, big loser in that one. He's going to lose out to Rancioni as well, is he? I think he's just about held on to that one. Oh, he's got no front of his car. Has he ended up in the barriers? 'Cause I don't think he would have lost the front of his car from the contact alone. We'll have to get a replay of it.
Here we go.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. Just fell off as he went over the curb there. The front fell off.
Yeah, it just popped right off. That is a really weird sight. That really does not look great. The F3 car without the front wing, front nose cone.
On the plus side, it does make it a little bit easier to check your...
117.6.
You can check your brake fluid level easily.
117.6 for Dorian Tabashik. He's gained like 2 seconds in the space of 2 laps.
Yeah.
He's absolutely flying out there. You'd think he might try and take it a bit easy with only a few laps to go and the massive gap he's got, but no, he's out there setting purple times.
Well, I mean, he's got his fans and admirers to think about, you know. I mean, he's got a YouTube channel. He's got his own Discord. It's
He gained 1.7 seconds on the last lap to Ream Gross. That's insane.
You don't serve your fan base by not sending it, Dane.
I'd rather
Or
go
so I'm
slow and
told.
win the race than try and push and spin.
True.
No action needed, for instance, between Sade and Malkov, so that'll either be dealt with by the post-race stewards, or it will just go down as a racing incident. I don't think either of them did anything particularly wrong. I think they just came together through turn 1 there, and that was a little bit unfortunate.
Maybe the stewards thought that Sade didn't necessarily brake, and add to that, maybe Malkov turned in a little bit harder than he should have. So maybe a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Which is basically just a long way of saying what you already said, which is it's a racing incident.
Drugs getting really adventurous out there with track limits. Track limits are not being enforced by the stewards, however they are being enforced by the grass and the walls. And I know I'd rather get a steward's penalty for the track limits than having a party with some grass and a wall. Yeah, that doesn't sound too fun. We've seen a couple drivers already end up in the wall. But yeah, they're really pushing the track limits on the outside of that final corner, which is surprising considering the wall is right there. It sticks out into the circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw just a moment ago, a few laps ago, we saw Sherling really hanging out there into the gravel. I would have thought that car would have gone around for sure, but he managed to keep it straight. Maybe they know something we don't, Dane.
I think they're just better drivers than me. I think that's all it is. I would never dream of going anywhere near some of these curbs that they're taking.
You're a rallycross fan.
Rallycross, yeah, not in an F3 car. 2 laps to go then. Riding on board with Tabashik on this penultimate one. Heading into the chicane. Get a good view of how huge these curbs are on the inside. Just clipping the apexes beautifully there. 7 seconds still the gap to Ream Gross behind. Into the second chicane now. You've got to avoid these little white sausage curbs. They look tiny, but they will fly, or send your car flying. As with these smaller curbs on the inside of some of these corners, over the crest in some cars, the F1 cars on iRacing, that's Wheel Spin City over there. And now down into the hairpin. Tightened up a bit on exit, and then through this little chicane that doesn't really serve much of a purpose at all, but it's there anyway. And then you could brake at the 100 meters wall, or you could flat out and take that escape road, and that completes the lap of Zolder, and he's about to start the final one. White flags in the air.
Well, he really makes it look easy, doesn't he, Dane? I mean, a very conservative, clean lap as we rode on board. A great shot here to ride on board with him, but really no drama, just very fast.
Ooh, and here, very, very late move there. Down the inside into the chicane. Sharon Canet picks up an extra point. Up into 19th. Gets past David Diag, who remember had to start from the pit lane as well. All drivers taking the white flag right now. Not too many drivers in a position to try and make a move on this last lap. I think this is the closest battle we've got. Oren Sardi with Alan Zolder 7/10 behind. We've also got John Chico catching up at a hell of a pace to Moshi Panchevsky for 16th and 17th. Look at that. He's right on the back of him. When I said that, he was 6/10s up. Now he's going to go down to the inside through this fast right-hander at turn 4. And that's a nice move that he's made there. And I think the driver behind might try and make a move there as well. Actually, that was a lapped car, so it won't be making a move. But this man is going to be moving up in the championship standings as he takes the win. Dorian Tabashnik here at Zolder, Alon Day's home circuit. More on that a bit later. But Dorian Tabashnik takes the win then. Green Gross finishing in second. We've got some donuts happening out of turn 1 now. There he is then. I'd say he's a bit happy with that result.
Yeah, it looks like it. Is that Sherling's car going around as well there?
Yeah, I think he's just joining him in for the fun. Yossi Bai extremely happy with his 5th position. That's a great result for him. And then a couple more drivers finishing the race there. Sade in 6th, then Zeltz and Sione. Ariel de Bush will finish just ahead of Nick Otmazwari to round out the top 10. As some of the lapped cars finishing the race now as well. You can see all the smoke being kicked up by those cars doing some celebratory donuts there in the background. But as I was saying, Alon Day, he's not here today, unfortunately. We're used to seeing the 3-time Euro NASCAR champion out on the circuit here, but Zolder is a circuit that he absolutely loves. He's won 6 Euro NASCAR races there last season. The one Euro NASCAR race I've actually watched. He won there at Zolder, and he broke the record for the most number of wins for a Euro NASCAR driver. As David Dye gets in a straight line and into the wall. That is awful. That was a terrible looking contact with the wall there. But yeah, he actually won that race. That's one of his 6 wins in Euro NASCAR at Zolder, and he's also won 2 of his championships at Zolder as well. So yeah, it's a track that he likes a lot, and it's a shame that he couldn't join us today. I think he might have had some real world commitments that he had to attend, unfortunately. But race results up on the screen then. Dorian Tabashnik pretty happy that Alon Day is not here, because I think he would have had a much harder time out there if he was. Reem Gross finishing in 2nd, then Chachachvili, Michael Sherling 6 seconds behind, then Yossi Bai rounding out the top 5. Oren Sade in 6th, then Alon Zeltzer, Rancioni, Ariel de Bush, and Nikot Mizrahi in the top 10. Last 2 drivers to finish on the lead lap, Rudy Sir and Yaroslav Malkov. Then Leon Portman, Michael Wasserman, Brandon Kisselstein, John Chico, Moshe Panchevsky, Peter Green, David Diag, and Shirin Kano, who started on pole position, all a lap down. Yehuda Ben Yosef 2 laps down, and then Madi Bekar, Elad Weinraub, and Amma Meshlam not finishing the race, despite the 2 fast repairs. So those 3 at the bottom unable to keep themselves out of trouble. Well, let's see. We've got a couple of drivers waiting for an interview then, and I think the only place that's logical to start here, I think, would be with the race winner. So let's get Dorian Tabashnik in for a chat with us, and let's see if we can get him in here. And he joins us now. Dorian, can you hear us?
Yes, fellas. How are you?
Oh, we're not too bad, and I think you might not be too bad either. I think you had a pretty good race out there today.
Yeah, it was definitely a surprise win. I thought I was a goner once Reuven overtook me on turn 1, and I especially thought I was a goner after that mishap in the first chicane. But yeah, I got lucky. I guess he lost the rears or something. It seemed like, from my point of view. So I was able to carry it from there. I was just focusing on when to put the fastest lap so I can get the extra point. I was waiting for the fuel to run out, and from that point on, I was just cruising.
Yeah, you had a pretty big gap of I think it was like 5 seconds for most of the race, and then near the end, all of a sudden, fastest lap of the race, first person to get into the 117s, and then at one stage you gained 1.7 seconds on Reem Gross in a single lap, which was pretty cool to see. I thought you would be taking it easy when you got that much of a lead with the last few laps of the race, but no, I think you said you were going for the extra points.
Yeah, I was just keeping the tires cool, waiting for the fuel to run out, and just hit the iron while it's hot.
Absolutely. Well, Zolder, what do you think of Zolder? Because I don't think we've visited this circuit in the iRacing Israel League before. But what do you think about the circuit in the F3 car?
You talking about Zolder? You were breaking up for a second.
Oh yeah, sorry, it was Zolder. What do you think about, especially with the alternate chicane? What do you think about this car and the F3 cars?
Well, I've discovered this track. I mean, I've only learned it last season, and I realized that this is one of those tracks where I just click with. And this is definitely one of my best tracks, I would say. I have very consistent, good pace here, so I'm very happy with it. It's a tricky, it requires a lot of precision. That's the thing. It's not the sort of track where you can just mess up a corner and it's fine. No, if you mess up a corner, you're gonna lose half a second or the car. So you're just gonna have to be very precise and make lots and lots of compromises to keep the tires in check, because it's so easy to overheat the rears here. And once you do, you won't be able to put the power down, and it's very tricky. So it's all about managing the car, especially in such a long race, 23 laps. It's relatively long for the F3. So I was just keeping that in mind the whole race.
Yep, absolutely. And 2 weeks' time, next race, we've got Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Montreal, the street circuit. That should be an interesting one.
Definitely should. I'm not sure I've ever driven the street circuit. I've driven the, I don't know what to call it, the Grand Prix layout, or how is it called? I don't remember. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. The curbs are super tall. You can't really take advantage of them in most chicanes there, so it's gonna be very tricky to get good lap times out of it. And just like Zolder, it's actually very reminiscent with the high-speed chicanes and just pinpoint accuracy into them. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I hope I'll do well there.
Absolutely. Well, you got to have a mandatory pit stop there as well, so that should throw a bit of strategy into the works as well. And Dorian, well, congratulations on the win, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. But before we let you go, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, massive shout out to Ram. He had a fantastic race. He was just on it the whole race. He was very consistent. And yeah, I know that's something he's been working on the whole season. So yeah, he did really well, just, nice and steady, and got second out of it. Well done to him.
Well, Dorian, thank you so much for joining us, and yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Well, it was great to hear from Jim, and we've got a lot of other drivers waiting for an interview, so you take your pick.
Well, I would love to. Let's bring Chachashvili in here. Let's have a chat with him. There he is. Ruben, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. Good evening.
Good evening to you. So, first question on my mind. First of all, great to see you on track today. Of course, great to be back with the series. There was a moment on track out there, and Dane and I wondered about this, but you seemed to let Sherling catch and pass. Was that just late in the race? You guys just wanted to race, or what happened there?
That was a slowdown. I cut the chicane over there too much on the grass, and I just got a slowdown. It was my bad. I didn't practice enough in this track, and those are the results of not practicing enough.
Well, that's interesting. We thought that maybe you guys there was a pretty big gap ahead of you and a fairly big gap behind, so we thought you guys just maybe decided that you'd rather race one another than hot lap by yourselves. But that's interesting that you got a slowdown. I mean, these things do happen, but I'm sorry to hear that. It's unfortunate, but as I say, these things do happen.
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest, I'm thankful that it happened, because racing with Sherling is one of the reasons that I love this league. He's a talented driver. He's so responsible. He respects the other driver, and it was such a great fight. Like I really enjoyed this race, to the maximum. Me and Sherling had the ability to race side by side in many corners, and it's what makes racing fun.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys had a great battle out there, and you both had some probably some moments that you wish you didn't have. I mean, I saw his car maybe taking a little bit too much curb in some of the chicanes and kind of dipping a wheel off the track. And I think you had a spin early in the race as well.
Yeah, as I said, I didn't practice enough, and I think it's one of the results. I just, didn't respect the cold tires, and they just bite me in in the straight. I think that the brake bias wasn't configured well, and I broke too late, too hard, and I'm glad that didn't finish in the wall. That I managed to
Yeah.
continue. And I had an unfortunate case with Amir Meshulam that I misunderstood his hints. I thought that he's gonna go with me side by side in the last chicane. What made me to jump through the gravel and almost hit him.
Uh,
It finished badly, but I'm really sad for him.
yeah, unfortunate for him, but as you say, a great drive by Sherling. We've seen a lot of great drives out of him, certainly, as we have out of you. And finished on the podium today, so you got to be pretty pleased with that.
I'm pretty pleased with that, to be honest. Considering the amount of practice that I put effort in this 2 weeks, I practiced the most of the previous week to the 24 hours in the Nürburgring. Me, Dorian, and two more friends had the chance. By the way, they're from the league. One of them, Madi Bakar, and Nir Naveh. We attended the 24 hours in the Nürburgring, and most of the practice went on trying to master the Nürburgring. It was a real fun, but it just caused, it just took most of our time for practicing to Zolder. And I think that, it's, I'm pretty happy to finish third place. And Dorian is a great driver, and he made it to the first place as he always do. He was consistent. He drove well. I was pretty sure that he gave me the second place or the third even place in the first lap. Seems like he lifted early. I'm not sure what he tried to do, but thanks, Dorian.
Yeah, well, we
work
just
well for me, but I tried to.
we just spoke to him a second ago, and he thought the same thing. He thought it was all over for him as soon as that happened, but things did shake out the way they did. Well, as I say, congratulations on your P3 finish today, Reuven Chachashvili. Looking forward to seeing you on track for the future races in the series.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to see you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. There he goes, Dane.
Absolutely, it was great to hear from him. And now we head over to Reem Gross, who did finish in second position today, and we heard Dorian telling him that he was absolutely very consistently quick out there today. Reem, welcome to the interview room, and congrats on the second place today.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Well, you had an all right start out there at the front, and then managed to climb your way up into second. And then, as Dorian was telling us earlier, I'm not sure if you heard this in his interview a few moments ago. He was just telling us that he's been telling us you've been working on your consistency throughout the races, and he said that that's something that you've improved on a lot, and it showed today.
Yeah, something I've been practiced a lot. This track I haven't had the time to practice a lot, but today I succeed to be stable and be fast enough to defend my place at the end.
Absolutely, and gained 5 positions out there today, which is pretty good out there. You held off Chachashvili and Sherling, who were not too far behind near the end there, but keeping on pace with Dorian throughout the race. So were you trying to catch him, or did you think that maybe you didn't have the pace to make it all the way up and just keeping your tires cool?
At the beginning, I thought I could get to Dorian, but it was too fast for me. It was really, really fast, and Chachashvili and Michael was closing behind me. So I was telling myself to be consistent, to be as much as I can, to drive fast and clean, and that's all.
Well, in 2 weeks' time, we head to Montreal, the F1 Street Circuit. Have you driven much of that circuit? What do you think of that circuit?
It's a really good track. I know it well. It's gonna be interesting.
It definitely is, and with you near the front, I think, of the championship standings, if I remind myself correctly. Do you think you have a chance at maybe a top 3 at the end of the season?
No, I'm not. I'm in the middle of the championship because as I have an injured shoulder, if you remember, I drive all the races one-handed. So
Are you still driving one-handed?
yeah, still.
Oh, I didn't know that you were still driving one-handed. Wow, that makes this even more impressive then.
Yeah, I'm so happy. It was really hard to keep this pace.
Yeah, no, actually, we're just seeing in the background of the slow-mo now, Amir ending up in the wall behind. That was a pretty big one. But yeah, Reem, thank you so much for joining us. Congrats on the second place, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we let you go?
Yes, I want to say a big shout out to Ariel Dabush that give me the opportunity to compete these races. So thank you, Ariel, and thank you, you guys, and Amir, of course.
Well, thank you for joining us, and yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you.
It was great to hear from Reem there, and we've got time for one more quick word with a driver. We've got 2 drivers still waiting in the interview waiting area. Jim, who do you want to have a quick chat to next?
Well, let's see. Well, we've got Rancioni and Yossi Gabai. Let's take Gabai. Yeah. Sorry, Ran. We'll get you next time, buddy. Thanks for hanging out. Here he is. Yossi Gabai, a great race for you today. You ended up with 7, you gained 7 places over the course of the race.
Yeah, it was a very tough race for me today. It took a lot out of me, yeah.
Sorry, we did see you have a little bit of a wiggle. I think that might have been into turn 1, and I think you lost a couple of positions there, but it looks like you managed to claw that back by the end of the race. You finished in P5.
Yeah, I had about 7 laps fight with. I was behind Oren Sadeh, very close to him, and then for some reason I don't know, I got a black flagged. It was a mistake, I guess, because it was cancelled. But I got very stressed out of it, and I even said in the speaker that I need to clear my black flag. And a few seconds later, it actually was clear, but. I was very nervous about it for a couple of laps, and then I built my pace later on.
Yeah, well, the cars did seem to get very much faster as the fuel load came down. Were you... Dorian was just saying that he managed his tires a little bit during the middle of the race, just trying to keep them cool, so until the fuel load came down. Was there any similar thoughts on your mind, or were you planning for the late stages of the race?
I wasn't. I raced for the official races this week, and I didn't notice any tire wear like today. And actually, today, about 4 or 5 laps to the end, I got a lot of slips. I don't know, because of the tire wear, and I managed to slow down a bit and took it slower, and then I got them cooler.
Yeah, well, that would certainly help. It can get surprising toward the end of the race. As I say, we just talked to Tabachnik a second ago, and he was saying that he thinks this is a fairly long race for this car without a pit stop or tires. So I'm not surprised that you were seeing a little bit of moving around late in the race. But again, to finish P5, even with that unexpected handling, is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm very happy with it. I was expecting to have about 8, 9. And suddenly Yaroslav and Oren Sadeh made an accident in turn 1, so I got ahead of it.
Yeah, well, you had it seems to me you had a lot more cars than that you were battling over the course of the race. And if our software is correct, you only had, very few incidents. So
yeah, 2 or 3 maybe.
Yeah. I'm trying to talk you into being really proud of your race here.
Yeah, I am. It was a very tough race for me, and I'm very proud of the results. Yeah, definitely.
There we go. That's what I was looking for. Well, thanks so much for having a chat with us again. Congratulations on your P5 finish. Can't wait to see you on track in the future.
Thank you, Jim and Dane. Thank you.
Well, there he goes, Dane. I was able at last to get a very modest guy to be proud of a great result.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great result for him as well. He gained quite a few positions out there. I do apologise to Rancioni, but we are just about out of time. But that was an interesting race. I wasn't expecting too much in the way of overtaking here, because it is a fairly narrow circuit. There aren't many long straight sections, but the drivers managed to make it work anyway. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to Montreal. Montreal should be a really good race because we've got that long back straight, and yeah, the walls ever closer means that incidents are slightly more likely. We saw at Long Beach a few weeks ago that street circuits can always make everything just a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, the Wall of Champions should certainly collect a few new champions.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that, and hopefully everybody watching us can join us in 2 weeks' time for the next round of the iRacing Israel League. But for now, from myself, from Jim Hodgson, and from Mark Tranter, that is it from us, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.